Meeting to order at 7:02. Need to do a roll call.
Pete Lurker,
Here.
Howard Hill, Adam Blakely, Joe Schaller, Rachel Albert, Marty Cox.
Here. Good. Got old business.
Yeah, we're gonna start by approving the minutes from the original public hearing for this case.
Look down, down the spring side, any problem with that? Somebody make a motion to approve. Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pass. Okay.
Okay.
All right, now I'll announce the purpose of this meeting. Of the public hearing is to continue the review of case 2024-04 CU filed by Eli Schatzel, agent for Robbie and April Collins for property located at 7966 Boomer Shines Road, German Township, Montgomery County, Ohio. The applicant is requesting conditional use according to Article 4, Section 403C of the German Township zoning resolution. The applicant rents the property from homeowner Robbie and April Collins and wishes to continue running his automobile repair business, which includes farming equipment and farm trucks out of the home garage. As members of the Board of Zoning Appeals, it is our duty to review this case at public hearing and render a decision for or against a request based on the application, staff report, testimony, and evidence presented and heard at public hearing. All testimony during the hearing is required to be under oath. I would ask at this time anyone wishing to present evidence, please raise your right hand, his or her right hand, for swearing in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Say, I do. You will be asked to state your name and current address at the time you address the board. Please wait until being recognized by the chair before speaking. Everyone will be given an opportunity to voice his or her comments in an orderly fashion. The introduction for this case, 2024-4CU, can you do your
Yes.
staff report, brief summary?
The applicant is Eli Schatzel. The property location is parcel ID D14-00713-0021, approximately 1.17 acres, located in section 9, town 3, range 4 east, zone agricultural, German Township, Montgomery County, Ohio. Property is located at 9766 Boomer Shine Road and is owned by Robbie and April Collins. The applicant is requesting a conditional use according to Article 8, Section 803L, which allows agricultural services as a conditional use in the agricultural zone. Mr. Schatzel was previously running an automotive repair business out of the home that he rents from the Collins. He was informed by the German Township zoning department that an automobile repair business was now permitted for conditional use in the agricultural district, and immediately shut his business down and came to consult me. Mr. Schatzel stated that a majority of his business is for local farmers working on farm equipment and farm trucks, which led to this application for the conditional use in order to reopen business. In accordance with Article 4, Section 404.03, the public notice was published in July 18, 2024 edition of Germantown Press and sent to local residents within 300 feet on July 10, 2024. Application, survey, legal descriptions, plot plan, copy of deed, list of neighbors within 300 feet, and other pertinent information has all been submitted. 406.05 standards for conditional use. If the conditional use is granted, the current plans will comply with all other applicable regulations of this resolution. There are no changes planned to utility and drainage. There will be no change to the current entrance and exit drives at this time. A mechanical repair facility does not require a special license in Montgomery County or the state of Ohio unless they are a lube or service station. The applicant only does mechanical repair. There is also no oil water barrier required, since there are no drains in this facility and does not perform oil changes. The land usage proposed will be in harmony with surrounding land usage. The location, nature, and height of any structures, walls, fences, and the nature and extent of landscaping and screening on the site will not unreasonably hinder or discourage the appropriate development, use, and enjoyment of adjacent land, buildings, and structures. If the board believes there is a concern about the parked vehicles being an eyesore to surrounding property owners, staff recommends requiring the applicant to put a fence around the property as a condition to grant in this application. There is no exterior lighting being added here at this time. The granting of the conditional use desired will not adversely affect public health, safety, and welfare.
Well, this is the continuation of the hearings from a couple of weeks ago. So it's not necessary for you as the applicant to present the evidence. So if you'd like to add something, we'll entertain it, but you don't have to. All right.
Can you say that's for everyone's testimony for and against as well?
Well, if they're here, if they have something to add.
But if they testified before, they don't have to come up and say the
They
same
don't
thing.
have to testify. But if you have to, something new, this will allow you to introduce it. And at this point, I would like to ask anyone that's in favor of the application, please, that wants to speak, please indicate by raising your hand. Forward, state your name and address, please.
Doug Hanahan, 13504, State Route 725, Germantown, Ohio. Only thing I'd like to say is not known the applicant that long, but he's been a good neighbor. No issues, very friendly, his family. As far as what you stated, I wasn't at the first hearing, I missed it, but I just wanted to say that I agree with not wanting an eyesore. And I totally agree with, keeping things, quiet, but it's not been a problem for me so far. I think you suggested the fence. I don't know if that's, how that's going to go, but that's either way is fine with me. I just asked that we don't turn into a junkyard, but as far as a neighbor, it's a good neighbor. Appreciate it. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Anyone else like to speak in favor? Yeah. Okay, now anybody who want to speak in favor? State your name and address.
Glen Road, 8730 Boomshine Road. I'm in favor of this gentleman. He's been a major help to me, working on my lawn tractors, vehicles. I had no issue with the cars and all that. I just love his family and him. I'm sure they love the school district and just beautiful place for him. Yes.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak in favor of the application? Okay, now anybody that wants to speak in opposition, please raise your hand.
I don't know why that's there. It's usually, I didn't even realize that at the time.
Jeff Barnett, 1322-6, State Route 725. I'm not in opposition to a gentleman trying to make a living, but I do believe that you're about to open a door to something you're not going to be able to close. Given variances, is it a variance that you're given?
Conditional use.
Conditional use. Either way, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. He's a full service mechanic. He's doing full service work. There's plenty of vehicles parked everywhere already. It's already an eyesore. I just believe once you go down these roads, it's hard to turn it around. I don't know what you tell to the next person that wants to do the same thing, other than yes, because you're already saying yes, if you choose to decide to okay this. Not against the family or anything like that. I just, I don't know. I just appreciate things staying tidy, and if you want to start a automotive business, you can go down in town and you can do that somewhere where it's regulated. That's the other thing. Even though if you allow this and you put certain restrictions on it, who's going to enforce that here? I mean, does the police department go around and check up to make sure that somebody's doing what they're supposed to be doing? I mean, who holds these people? Who will hold him in check?
Oh, baby.
Okay. And then, so that, yeah, I just have my concerns. I mean, once you open these doors and you go down these roads, I think that it's hard to go back, and close that door. So that's all. I appreciate it.
Anyone else speaking in opposition?
Dave Gilbert, live at 13549 Oxford Road. And I agree, I don't know the gentleman, never met him, nothing against him, and I have nothing against him, make a living. But the place is an eyesore. There's about 18 vehicles sitting there on that lot right now. And that's ridiculous. If I want to open up an auto recycling center on my corner, you're gonna give me a variance? I mean, like he said, you open up a can of worms, this whole township's starting to deteriorate and look like hell. Drive out 725 and you start right here on the hill, and the whole township turned to trash. And I don't like that in my neighborhood. I don't want to see it in my neighborhood. I mean, I keep my place nice. I expect my neighbors to keep nice. And, if they don't, then go someplace else. If you don't like the rules and regulations of this township, you don't need to be changing them. That's all I gotta say. One more thing. Isn't it up to the homeowner? Isn't it up to the homeowner to ask for the change in venue instead of the renter
Change of venue or what?
of the zoning?
The variance.
Right.
Not a variance, continue.
And-
He's
and,
asking if it should be the homeowner
The
or
property owner.
who's supposed to be asking for that? Is it the homeowner or the renter that should be?
The renter is acting as an agent for the homeowner in this case.
Okay.
So in other words, the homeowner's already given his approval.
What does
Oh,
oh, I'm sorry. I have somebody else that,
Should I bring the podium over?
And bring us back.
I'm here for a couple purposes.
State your name.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Kurt Jacoby, 12955 Harris Road. As just a little background, providing as from the zoning commission, where I serve, at least 2 or 3 of the corner properties at the intersection of 725 and Boomershine were zoned business back in about 10 years ago. I don't have an exact date, but 10 to 15 we'll call it. And the zoning commission reviewed that, as well as some other locations around the township that had been historically zoned for business, but were now inappropriate. In other words, they had become a residential area thing, and other situations where business was not the proper zoning. So, because of that, we rezoned to the current state and removed the business zoning. So nothing has really changed with regard to that area. If anything, there are more houses. And so I guess the idea that it's appropriate for business has not changed since then. So secondly, I'm speaking for Marvin Rieger, who lives on Boomershine Road. He, as a resident, private citizen, he does serve on the zoning commission, but he wanted to speak up as a neighbor, but he could not be here. He's in Nashville. I don't have his exact address, but it's on Boomershine. But he just said that he's not happy with the way the property has degraded. The current condition is not the way he would like the neighborhood to be. So I'll leave it at that.
Anybody else speaking in opposition? You've already spoke, right?
yeah, but
But
what
you gotta add something?
what is an agricultural services? What is defined that legally? What variance
Can
is
can you come up front, please?
Name and address as well.
8426 Boomershine Road, Mary Long. What does agricultural services mean, the legal definition of it?
Legal definition.
I mean, so you're going to give a variance for
Not
agriculture,
giving a variance. Continue.
whatever it is, you're giving it for agricultural service, which with no limit definition, what that's going to be.
Well, he previously had testified that 50% of his business is to support
But-
farm.
In the notes it was read, it also states that there's no oil changes there, and I personally know people that have had oil changes there. And Mr. Cox asked, where does the oil go? And they never received an answer as to what happens to the oil from an oil change. You're gonna have used oil from an oil change. That question at the last meeting was never answered as to what's happening with this. But anything fluids that have to be changed, there's transmission fluid, there's all kinds of fluids, there, old oil has to come out to change oil. So the notes that he stated that he doesn't change oil can't be correct. I'm not gonna name names, but I personally know people that have been there for an oil change that isn't an agricultural vehicle. They live in a residential area, it's their car. So I just don't know what you're going to for this variance, whatever it is. What it means, if he's gonna go out and work on people's tractor at some other place, there's nothing wrong with the bylaws with that. But, and does this stay with the property or with the renter? Does it, how long does it last? Is there gonna be more variances down the road?
This is not a variance.
Whatever it is that you're trying to do. Is it permanent? Is it with the name of the person that rents it, that wants it? I mean, what is it, what does it mean? The contingency thing.
Well, if we decide to give him a conditional use, we put in a restriction that it only applies to him, but the business is sold. That continue, that he disappear.
And I mean, what does the zoning board want our township to become or to be? I live down the road and we, like Dave said, we keep our property nice. Is all of this that's gonna go on, and if it gets worse, is it gonna affect my property value down the road? We've lived there 44 years and worked hard to keep it nice. So is it gonna affect the area here for how people are gonna look at this section of the township to come to? So I don't know how it's gonna be regulated for only agricultural cars, tractors, trucks, whatever that's there. It just, I don't know how many of you have driven by it to see what property looks like that we're talking about. And I'm not against anybody making a living, but I don't think the proper channels were gone through from the get-go. I mean, this should have all been done ahead of starting it versus backing up and doing it after the fact that it's already been started. So somewhere along the line, the right channels haven't been followed.
And in fairness, that was discussed at the last meeting. Mr. Sheffield, he said he didn't know better. He was told by the property owner that it'd be fine.
But a property owner isn't
I understand that.
someone that you go to.
I completely
And if
understand.
I want to collect rent, I might say anything
Well,
to,
but
so.
There's a little feedback there. I don't know if you can.
So you
right now.
come to,
Just wait, yeah.
So
are you finished?
I think so.
I was handed this just because I know you asked the question about oil, in the notes from last week. I'm sorry, I just lost my spot on here. Oh, boy. Let's see here.
you asked about the oil.
All right, so it says Eli stated that he tries to refrain from doing oil changes, but does have oil on occasion for certain repairs and does have an oil storage tank that Waste Management comes out to the property and disposes of. So I'm just answering your question from that you asked
Okay.
us. So that's what was stated.
Okay, I just, like Jeff said, I don't want a whole can of worms opened up, and I just want to be proud of the township. I'm proud of my place. We worked hard.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna let that speak.
Gotcha. So I just wanted to add something.
Say your name.
Eli Schatzle. You mentioned about the zoning being commercial, the parcel that,
Close, right?
gotcha. The parcel that we're trying to rezone, which is the back parcel, it is,
Conditional use.
yes, gotcha, conditional use. It is actually still, residential / other. So if you look it up on any of the zoning websites or anything like that, it still comes up residential / other. So I don't know where that all came from, but at some point in time, it was,
It's tricky because Montgomery County website will say one thing, but our zoning map says something
yeah,
else.
so that, at some point in time, that back parcel, just the back parcel, was some type of business or something of that nature. That's all.
Have you got questions there?
Yes.
Have you had discussion with your landlord about possibility of putting up a fence?
I have not, but I don't think that he would care. His brother, which is his power of attorney, because Robbie's always in California, Jeff lives in Middletown, and Jeff actually kind of wanted me to put up a fence anyway, and it wasn't really because of the cars or anything. It was actually because of the wind that comes across the property from the bean field, and it just would block the wind and keep it. And he said it would probably look a little nicer. So that Jeff had recommended Robbie do that years ago. And then he said something to me that if it became a situation that we could probably make that happen. But there's really only, you're only gonna get like a short section. It may be 50 yards because you have a driveway and a driveway. So you would only get like 50 yards of fencing at best, essentially, to block that half of the parcel, because there's two parcels, you know what I mean?
Did you contact the prosecutor's office? Question of that. Well, we gotta do that.
What was the question on that?
Renter,
Close the-
owner, type thing.
We're gonna close the public hearing at this point. We're gonna go into executive.
Wait, but you still, people want to speak.
What's that?
You still have people that want to speak.
We got one more.
Who wants to speak?
I do for one.
You reopen the case. And the name and address.
Tim Stevie, 8226 Boomershine Road. I would listen to, I'm not sure exactly what conditional use is. Could you explain that real quickly to me as opposed to a variance?
I'll try that one.
Do you know?
I do them, I just don't know really how to explain it, but a conditional use is a property use that is allowed, but with permission, basically. So there are certain, agricultural zone or residential zone, these are the ones that are permitted. And then these are the ones that you can just do without having to have permission. And then there are conditional uses that is a business that you can operate as long as you get permission from the Board of Zoning. Variance would be if, we require so much road frontage and you want to build a house, but you don't have that road frontage.
Okay,
You're basically asking for an exception to the rule.
okay.
Is that correct? Is that a decent amount?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
So why are we here at this meeting? What-
Because he works on farm equipment and farm equipment repair is a conditional use in agricultural.
Okay, but why did it come to you people? Because somebody complained about it?
But
There was a call, there was a complaint.
Okay, yeah. Well, I can understand why he had a complaint. That property looks awful. The second thing is, you talk about a fence. Is it a description of what the fence is supposed to look like? Is it a privacy fence or is it a chain link fence?
There's regulations in our zoning for fences, that's a whole
So what is it, what is that, what is that?
I'd have to look it up in the zoning resolution.
In terms of this, the restrictions, we would just decide if we were gonna do a fence, what that,
You people would decide?
we would decide if it's 8 foot, 4 foot, 10 foot, those type of things, seat or not seat. I mean, those are restrictions that we would determine based on testimony we feel is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of the fence, I mean, obviously, you all for public hearing can.
Well, I'm not in favor of a fence either, because I'm not in favor of the way it looks now, but hiding it is not gonna help anything. With a fence.
That's fair.
The other thing is Boomershine Road is a very busy road. I mean, I've lived out there 52 years, and you used to have one car every hour. Now we have 10 cars every 5 minutes going up 70 miles an hour up and down that road. And he's at a very dangerous part of that intersection, 725 and Boomershine Road. And if people pull out, I mean, it's a distraction. Not only being an eyesore, it's a distraction for drivers. So I would highly recommend that you people reconsider what you're thinking about and granting this conditional use. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking in opposition? All right, this case is public hearings closed.
7:27 PM. All right, is there any further discussion or comments from the board?
Got any comments?
So,
Go into
yeah,
discussion.
check.
I need a motion for that. Okay. Second?
Second.
All right, I'm gonna do 7:17.
So, he's good.
We were convinced you were trying to look for that picture.
No, we were looking through the books and everything.
All right, you guys are
Get
back
there.
from discussion at 8:30 PM. All right, have you guys, are you guys ready to do a vote?
Let's do the standard.
Are you ready to vote?
Yeah, on the standard.
Okay. All right, the board shall not grant a conditional use unless it shall, in each specific case, make specific findings of fact directly based upon the particular evidence presented to it that support conclusions that A, the proposed conditional use will comply with all applicable regulations of this resolution, including lot size requirements, development standards, and use limitation. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
and Wayne Houston.
Yes.
Adequate utility drainage and other necessary facilities have or will be provided. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
Adequate access roads or entrance and exit drives will be provided and will be so designed as to prevent traffic hazards and to minimize traffic conflicts and congestion in public streets and alleys. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
All necessary permits and licenses for the use and operation of the conditional use have been obtained or evidence has been submitted that such permits are obtainable for the proposed conditional use on the subject property. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
All exterior lights for artificial open air illumination are so shaded as to avoid casting direct light upon any property located in a residential district. Pete Lurker, sorry.
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
The location and size of the conditional use, the nature and intensity of the operation involved or conducted in connection with it, the size of the site in relation to it, and the location of the site with respect to streets giving access to it shall be such that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is located. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
The location and nature and height of any building, structures, walls, and fences on the site, and the nature and extent of landscaping and screening on the site shall be such that the use will not be unreasonably hinder or discourage the appropriate development, use, and enjoyment of adjacent land, buildings, and structures. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
The conditional use desired will not adversely affect public health, safety, and morals. Pete Lurker,
Yes.
Marty Cox,
Yes.
William Houston.
Yes.
Is there a motion to grant or deny case number 2024-04 CU as presented or with any stipulations the board would choose to impose?
Yes, there's a motion to grant with conditions. The business activity will be conducted wholly within the completely enclosed buildings. No outdoor dismantling, wrecking, or storage of automobile vehicles, parts, or accessories shall be permitted. We will allow one vehicle outside the barn that's not titled to you.
Okay.
And then what's the next condition? Yeah, well, the conditional use only pertains to you as the applicant, is not transferable.
So that motion was by Pete Lurker. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Pete Lurker,
Yes, to grant with conditions.
Marty Cox,
Yes to grant with conditions.
and William Houston.
Yes to grant with conditions.
Okay, motion has passed with conditions. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's 8:34 PM.
Watch paper clip back.
Bro.